say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, we thank each and every one of you individually and all of you together collectively for the co-creation of this interaction and the opportunity for this transmission at this time. We will begin this transmission by reminding each and every one of you that it is titled Masks. We will be doing this part of the transmission in the beginning a little bit differently than we've ever done before. It will be a little unusual, but it will be for the purpose of more clearly illustrating the concept that we will be sharing with you today. So, Nania, you have something that you can bring up?
I do.
All right. Now, I would suggest, for the greatest impact, that all of you close your eyes. And I will tell you when to open them. So, eyes closed. You may open them. Now, we understand that for some of you, your first reaction may be, that's creepy. And that's all right. Because the idea of the masks is to understand something very important about the relationship between your higher mind and your physical mind. And that is that what you consider yourself to be as a person, when you look in the mirror, what you're seeing is a mask. You are projecting, you are channeling the idea of a portion of your consciousness into the experience of physical reality. You are always channeling, therefore, every single moment. And your physical face is a projection. It's a mask, it's a representation, it's a symbol of the idea that you call a physical experience. It's how you have focused your consciousness in such a way, in a space-time linear framework, to experience this idea you call physical reality. But we remind you that in a sense this is an artificial construct, a projection of consciousness. Therefore, from the higher mind's point of view, your physical face, your physical personality is truly just a mask. It's not really all that you are, but a very small portion of it, and a temporary portion of it, for the purpose of navigating in your physical reality. Therefore, the idea of this particular permission slip is to begin when you have the excitement to do so, to go out, find a mask that covers a majority of your face, similar to what you are seeing now. It can be any kind of a mask you wish it to be. We would suggest, however, that it be relatively plain, because the idea of this is to form a neutralization of what you typically see when you look in a mirror, so that you can really begin to start to relate to your face through this exercise as a projection, as a mask, and not associate it with the idea of your personality in the way you think of yourselves typically on a day-to-day basis as a person. When you begin to neutralize the idea this way, you will begin to form a dissociation with your physical face a little bit in this exercise. And if at first it feels a little bit creepy, that's all right, because the first phase for some people will be to get in touch with the idea of whatever negative or fear-based beliefs may come up in doing this, because we understand that many times on your planet when people don masks, in your culture, for a variety of reasons, many people will assume that there's a nefarious reason for doing so, that you're hiding something that you don't want people to see. So some of that may come up at first, and that's all right. Just let it do so. Eventually, you will begin, as you stare in the mirror at the mask instead of your face, you will begin to relax and neutralize the idea of any negative connotations or associations. And you'll begin to dissociate from the idea of your face and begin to understand your personality as a mask, as a projection, that the higher mind sees it as such, and you can begin then by creating that dissociation, by creating a disfamiliarity. You can begin to see through the eyes of the mask more like the inner being, the higher being that you also actually are. Once you lose touch by doing this a few times, practicing it a few times, lose touch with the idea of what you're used to looking at in terms of the emotional expressions, the physical marks, the frame of your face, all of that, you'll begin to see through different eyes. You'll begin to, in a sense, feel like you're pulling back, dissociating, disconnecting, uncoupling from physical reality a little bit and a little bit more each time. Now, please understand, this is not about glossing anything over. It's not about denying your humanity. It's not about denying anything negative or fear-based beliefs that may come up. It's about truly acknowledging that they are there, but then allowing that to be part of you, and then allowing yourself to neutralize and relax about it, and start to feel a little bit of this disconnection from physical reality, from the typical expressions you have, from the typical way you have of communicating with people, even without words, through minor facial expressions, attitudes, emotionality. This may take some getting used to, but that's all right. You will, eventually, if you do it often enough, if you practice. And eventually you'll begin to start seeing things a bit differently, from another perspective. You'll start associating the idea of looking through the eyes of the mask with looking through your physical eyes as if it is a mask. And the more you can do this, the more you can start to form a basis, a foundation for starting to see things more in the way that your higher mind does, because your higher mind does relate to your physical persona as a mask. And the more you do that, your thoughts will be different, your perspective will be different. How you interact with physical reality will be different. You will start to blend and balance the idea of your physical mind and the higher mind in such a way that you can move through life as a more complete person. And then even when you take the mask off, you will remember that your face is still a mask, is still not everything that you are. Again, not to discount the beauty of it, but you will find yourself more blended, more balanced, being in the world but not of the world, and that knowing that the world is in you. More and more each time you do this. And when you finally allow yourself more opportunity to function closer to the frequency of the higher mind, then different inspirations, different thoughts, different ideas will come to you than may have been able to come to you when you associated more strongly with the idea of your physical face, your physical personality. You'll begin to truly begin to see things that heretofore were invisible to you, begin to see a broader picture, a bigger perspective from a higher position. You'll begin to understand how synchronicity works by seeing through the eyes of the higher mind, through the eyes of the mask of your physical personality. This is a very, very fun permission slip, but also one that takes a little getting used to. You can feel a little disoriented at first when doing this, but that's all right. The more you practice, the more you'll get it, the more you'll feel the balancing act, and the more inspirations will come to you. And you may even grow to use this technique as a way of getting in touch with higher planes of existence, with other spirit realms, other consciousness levels, other beings in other dimensions. It can go that far. Again, you can keep your feet on the ground and yet form this creative and constructive, positive dissociation with your personality, with the physical plane, with the physical experience in a balanced way. And this will give you not only greater outer sight, but greater inner sight as well. How do you think we look? Oh, thank you. And so, this is, of course, not exact, but you understand it is somewhat a representation of how we actually look as a hybrid being. Our skin color is about this white. Our eyes, while similar to yours, have enlarged pupils that are this black. But you would see a little bit of the iris around it, more like what you are used to seeing as an eye. But the interesting thing here also, in this exercise, in this endeavor, in this presentation, is that you're also getting an opportunity a little bit to experience the idea of communicating with us physically. And so even though this is not entirely representative of how we really look, it is a close approximation of a symbol that allows us to come a little closer and allows you to come a little closer by remembering this experience and how this mask looks right now to open contact, to physical contact with us one day. Remember that there is only a small percentage of our energy coming through the channel, never more at this particular moment than 10%, although 15 is possible. But on the day when there is physical contact, there will be stages to this that will allow you to be approached in stages, in steps, at whatever rate, at whatever pace you are comfortable, and allow you more opportunity to integrate within yourself all those energies and all those beliefs that will allow you to take a step closer to us and a step closer to actual physical contact. So, this is a very, very early simulation of that experience. And therefore, take advantage of this by taking a moment to really look at the mask on the channel's face and understand. And again, of course, you never have to believe this. We are not forcing this. But if you're open to it, take this opportunity to understand. You are communicating with an extraterrestrial being right now. And by this mask, seeing a slightly closer representation of how it would appear in your physical reality. So take a moment to absorb this, to let it in. Let the feelings, the energies, the vibrational states run through you. Taste them, savor them, explore them, and let your imagine fill in the rest. And imagine that we are, in fact, sitting right in front of you, physically, having this conversation in what you would consider to be a normal fashion, a normal everyday thing, that you can interact with us in this way, in your reality that is no longer the reality you used to be in, but a new reality, a link, a bridge, a third reality, different than mine, different than yours, a meeting place in which we can exchange more deeply, more concretely, and which will give you more opportunities to see the probabilities that can issue from such meetings and the paths that open up to you that lead to the stars. So we thank you for this opportunity of allowing us to present this symbol to you, to give you an opportunity to understand how to come a little bit closer to us without freaking out. Does this help you? So find a mask, do the exercise if you wish, every day if you wish, see what happens, bit by bit, take your time, no rush, no hurry. When you feel a little disoriented, that's all right. Slow down, take a breath. You will start to feel the dissociation in time. Keep it balanced and allow yourself to let it be all right to let yourself see through the eyes of the higher mind, knowing that this physical face is your mask, is your diving mask that allows you to see more clearly in physical reality and yet can open up new vistas to you by blending the physical eyes and the higher mind senses to create a new experience in a new world and a new reality for you. So we thank you. Nania,
Yes.
would you like to take back the mask?